The Simpsons just released their Christmas special celebrating the 35 years of the show's history on Disney+. Oh Come On All Ye Faithful is the first Simpsons special to be released exclusively to a streaming platform, a format Family Guy has done several times this year, and that South Park has been doing on Paramount Plus for a while now. The special is, as described by Disney+, an exclusive double episode in which the residents of Springfield search for Christmas cheer. That sounds like a good and simple enough premise for a special, but is it one that they pull off? That's what I want to talk about today. Let's do this. Alright, Internet, I'm going to be honest, I did not have high hopes walking into this special. It honestly just felt like additional promotional material for Disney Plus, like some of the shorts they've done over the past few years, which I don't think are very good. So I was pleasantly surprised with Oh Come On All Ye Faithful. It is a very entertaining, very well-made special that actually is worth its longer runtime, and I just want to talk about my feelings on it. This isn't really a video I had planned to do. I've got what is the last video of the year coming out later this week. I posted on my community tab about that. That is why my hair will look very different in that video. If you watch that after seeing this, leave a comment on that video saying, "Nice hair, Grumbo." What? And yeah, that was going to be it. But after watching the special this morning, I just really wanted to let my thoughts out. The special is really touching, and I love that they made a Christmas special as the 35-year anniversary piece, because that's how The Simpsons started. Their first episode is a Christmas episode, and one that honestly I do think has parallels to the special that we can get to in a bit, but I just wanted to start off by just talking about the fact that I enjoy that they wanted to not just make a special, but a Christmas special to link them together. Something I think Oh Come On Ye Faithful does really well is touching on multiple characters and setting up some dynamics that we aren't used to. In particular, the idea of pairing Homer and Ralph is something that I think is really interesting because I don't think they've spent that much time on screen together, but when you look at the premise that they're going with, it just makes perfect sense to pair them together in the kind of way where once you see it, you can't think of anyone else that would be doing this with Homer. It wouldn't be Bart, it wouldn't be Lisa, it wouldn't be any of the other side character kids like Milhouse, and it just works. It just works surprisingly well, and I enjoyed that. I also really like that they put so much emphasis on how much it sucks to be Ned right now. Not really, but I do like that they are using the fact that he now, through both the use of plot over the years and the real life loss of a voice actress, they have, pointed out how something like losing two wives can cause a crisis of faith in someone. I think that doing that, especially with Ned, a character who has been Flanderized, a term named after him, to be so religious and so consumed by his faith and so good, like trying so hard to be such a good person, to have that happen with him this far into the show really shows that they are thinking about their characters beyond just the simple cartoony ways that they are portrayed on a day-to-day basis. And I honestly really like the ways that they brought him back to his beliefs, not just through traditional Christian ideologies, but in talking to Lisa, who is a Buddhist, and getting her thoughts on things and how other religions view miracles, and talking to Frank, who is a scientist and not a man of God. I think that was really interesting, and it, without getting too preachy, although it, can toe the line a little with a Flanders episode, it never felt like it was trying to push a specific ideology. It really did feel like they were looking at religion the way I prefer to look at religion, which is a way to make you feel comfortable in the world. I think a lot of religious organizations are, sorry mom, dog shit. but I don't think that that necessarily means that Faith is bad, and I enjoy that they really touched on that theme. Bart's subplot wasn't huge in this, but I do appreciate what they did with him and how it tied back into one of the main storylines as it went, and really shows how you can use a character without them being the focus of an episode or a special. A bit of a side tangent, but it's the problem I have with the Bob's Burgers movie is that I don't really think that Gene is utilized very well in the ensemble. His plotline doesn't really feel like it has much weight compared to everything else. His gags are good, but like, they could have done something better with him, and I feel like in this special, The Simpsons show how to use a side character a bit better. In the special, they really show how they can use one of their primary players as a side character really well. They also do that really well with Lisa, who isn't in that much. Her Buddha monologue about Buddhist miracles is really interesting, and I love how they animated that. But other than that, she's just sort of along for the ride, vibing out, and her gags with that are good. They're simple little side jokes and scene buttons that I appreciated. And again, they give her one scene where she really gets to do her thing. I love when animation will change its style to help use the animation to emphasize the story being told. But even apart from that, the animation in it is really good. There's a lot of beautiful, fluid movements. Everything's gorgeous looking. Early on in the special, when they have Mayor Quimby looking uncomfortable on camera, the way he was squirming was just so well done. And that's sort of when I keyed in that they were really putting in a lot of effort into this. They weren't just doing an extended episode. It clearly had a higher production value that they were able to get those details in so well. I really do appreciate that they didn't just make this a simple episode. Like, it does feel worthy of being called a special and not just a longer episode. The initial framing device of the episode is this documentary type thing being made about Springfield and giving them more Christmas spirit. I initially thought that it was going to be that the whole way through, but then it turns out that as Ned has his crisis of faith, they break out of that framing device, and I thought that was a lot of fun. I saw a movie recently that did something similar. I'm not going to spoil the movie because that spoils a big part of it, but I do think that that is a really cool device to use. And in that initial framing device and in his story throughout, a big part of it is Homer thinking that he's Santa for a while, and then after he stops thinking that, him wanting to be that again because he liked how it made him feel, and he liked that he was being good for others. And that's the part I think ties back thematically to the original episode of the series, because that first episode, which is a Christmas special, has Homer playing a mall Santa to be able to provide for his family for Christmas. I think those parallels are fairly obvious because, like I said, Homer in the special becomes Santa, so to speak, because he is bad at giving gifts to his family. In the original special, he is trying to afford gifts to his family, so it is thematically linked in an interesting way, while still taking a new spin at the concept. And as I've said before in Simpsons videos, if you've seen other ones on my channel, the way you reinvent how you tell a certain type of story on a show that runs as long as this show has is important. At 35 years, the idea of Simpsons Did It really is a thing, and you can't avoid that making The Simpsons, so you have to find new ways to tell the kinds of stories that work for the show. I also have to say, I love the use of Rod and Todd in this episode. They are characters who don't get that much play generally, and I love how in Ned's crisis of faith, they give the boys a lot in terms of them trying to figure out what's going on, because they are so defined by being raised by Ned and his extremist Christian beliefs, and to see them sort of spiral out when not being shackled to those ideals was a lot of fun. I think every line both of them had in this was really funny, some of the best jokes of the entire 45-minute special. And it was honestly just great seeing them go off like that. Them wanting a toy wallet says so much about those characters on its own. It's great. So yeah, these were my initial thoughts watching the episode. Like I said, I just finished watching it and I came in here to talk about and honestly process my thoughts on it. This is going to be a bitch to edit down into something watchable. So if you don't see this video, that's why. Although you'll never know. Okay, this is getting way too meta now. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already. Let me know what you thought about the special in the comments below. I'd like to hear other people's thoughts, as I'm, again, still processing what I just watched. But I do think that it was a lot of fun. There was a lot of charm to it. I've got one more video coming out this week. It's a Christmas special, sort of. But until next time, have a good one.